Hello and welcome to haQ attaQ. My name is Jakob, I'm your host, and you're watching a haQ attaQ episode. This is MV08, a Rompler-based TR-808 clone, and it sounds really good. Rompler meaning that it's not based on synthesis, it's based on samples. Okay, so I do have a few issues with this app, and I'll show you what I mean as we go along. So right now we're in the first page. That's right, there are several pages in this app, and you can switch between the different pages up here in this menu. So you got the instrument pad page right here. The next one is where we find all of the effects. And here we have two send effects, one reverb and one delay. And you can send any of the pads through those effects, because all of the pads have a reverb and a delay knob, and so you can set the levels of the send individually. Right, so there's a step sequencer in here, and you insert your notes into the step sequencer down here in this little row. Now the thing is, this is really emulating hardware, okay? Because you cannot play and record your patterns at the same time. So you have to put in your notes by hand.
Hey!
No.
Hey!
No.
Hey!
No.
Jacob!
Please,
Jacob.
please.
Jacob.
Just stop
Hey.
Ami. Stop.
Hey.
Stop.
Jacob.
Are you done? What do you want, Ami?
Why are you so inconsistent?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, like just now, why would you say that you have to input notes by hand?
Because that's what I'm doing.
No.
Yes?
No. Your thing is fingering stuff. That's even your catchphrase at the end of your episodes. I've been watching your videos while I've been gone.
Ami, I've gotten a lot of new viewers since the last time you popped in and just interrupted one of my videos. Now, my new viewers probably wondering, who are you? And they just want the...
Let me speak.
Can I continue?
So, why don't you just put up a timestamp?
No, because this is going to end now. Do you understand?
Oh, this will go on for as long as I want.
What? You promised me... You promised me not to do this. I told you could come...
Why don't you go finger...
Stop right there. Don't say that.
But I was just going to say that you could
Oh, really? Of course. No.
But it wasn't anything bad.
I know it's something bad. Come on, man. Stop.
No. Promise.
Right. Go ahead.
I was just going to suggest that you could finger your bum.
Oh, come on. Just go away.
Jacob!
Oh, please. When you got more than 16 steps, then you switch between the different pages of steps by swiping left or right down here. Now there are some cool features in here, because you can individually edit each of the steps and save knob positions of all knobs up here for each step. Okay, so let's make this simple. Let's start from scratch. We're gonna go to the patterns page, and I'm gonna talk more about this later on. Right now, I'm gonna choose an empty pattern, go back to the pads page, and we're gonna start programming notes. Let's choose the bass drum, and we want to put a 4 on the floor rhythm like that. So let's say we want this bass drum to be higher in pitch. Then all we have to do is to go into edit mode, and you do that by long tapping and holding. Long tapping? Long holding. No, tap holding. Oh, you get my point. And we get into this mode. Now everything else becomes a little bit darkened out, and then we have these red dots up here. Now we can do knob tweaks. To exit edit mode, tap like that, and let's even increase the reverb a bit more. And let's go back to the effects page and increase the reflection, the decay, and some of the dampening. And you can edit each of the notes like this, which is pretty cool. Now, I do find a downside with not being able to record notes, because how often don't we want to jam along and record our patterns and stuff, right? There is something even worse with this, and that is you cannot preview any of the pads while you're playing a track. And it's got another drawback that makes me go absolutely bonkers. How many times don't we, when we're tweaking a sound in general, just rapidly hit whatever key note pad we're tweaking? Well, look at this. Double tapping will mute a note. And so if the developer is watching this, I suggest that you switch this out to a tap, hold, drag up or down motion for muting and unmuting. Now there is actually a way of rapidly tapping your stuff, and that is if you've got a MIDI controller, MIDI keyboard or MIDI pads connected to MV08, as I'm doing in this clip. And right there I'm using a chord plug key and I'm routing my Novation MIDI Nova into the plug key to play notes. Now all of the notes are laid out in a general MIDI arrangement. That's why some of the notes don't make any sounds. As I've been tapping along in here, you can see that some of the pads either have one or two more knobs on this side where it says secondary, and some of them don't, like the hi-hats. It all differs depending on what sound you have. Now the hi-hats actually have a choke mode, and the settings for that, you find those in the weirdest place actually. So you have to go to the settings menu and into audio. Right there it is, choke, open hits with closed hats. And you can either have this on or off. Right, so let's move back to the pads page. And well, there's really not much to explain here other than when you put in notes, you also have an accent mode. And you add the accent by double tapping on the note, and you see a little orange ring around the note. To remove it, you simply tap it. And to remove a note, you simply tap the note again. Now the controls for the accent, you can find that one in the patterns page. And it's right there, together with the swing function. Now let's move back to the effects section here. As you now know, the reverb and delay are sound effects, and so you have to individually add them to each of the instruments. And all of the settings you do inside here will affect all of the instruments equally. So you're basically just setting the strength of the effect with these knobs. On the right side here, we have an equalizer and a distortion unit. And I really like the distortion unit. It's how I'm getting my sound so dirty. Sounds pretty sweet, doesn't it? Now there's really not much more to say about the effects page, so we're gonna go to the bank and pattern page. MV08 allows you to store up to 128 user patterns. So 8 patterns from A to H, and then you simply choose what pattern number you want to work from. So 16 patterns in 8 banks. Now there is one more bank, and that's the demo bank. And here you can find some really classical trap style drum beats. Now MV08 has a nice tempo feature too, where you can individually store tempos for each of the patterns, but you can switch the tempo mode over to global, and that means that you can set one tempo, and then when you load any type of pattern, they will all be in the same tempo. So I'll show you this, and at the same time show you the copy paste functions. So let's say I want pattern 06, and I want to copy that one to pattern 9. So I just press copy, go to 9, press paste, and there it is. Now if I for some reason pasted it into the wrong pattern, I simply just tap clear, and when doing that, if I do realize that no, I am actually in the right pattern, then I can also undo what I did. So that's nice. And now I want to set this pattern to play in 102 BPMs, but remember, you have to switch the tempo over to pattern mode so that we can store that there. So let's go to 102 BPMs. and that's now stored. Now if I go to this pattern, it will go up to 128 BPMs and this one 120. And now we can switch it all over to global and all of the patterns will have the same BPM. Okay, for the next thing, the step count, we're gonna choose an empty pattern. And let's say we want this step count to be 32. So right now you can see that one page up here is in a light gray color. That means only 16 steps are available right now. So if we go down here to the step count, then we can double or half very easily and go from 16 to 32 to 64. But let's say we want something more odd, and then we can make our step count to 14. And now when you use the doubling or halving buttons, it will actually take this count into a count. 14 becomes 28 in doubling, and it goes down to 7 when you halve it. You also have a pattern resolution button, and to show you what this does, let's go to the first pattern here. Right now we have it in 16. And if we switch it over to 32, it's gonna run as if it ran in double speed. Lastly, we have a swing mode, and it's pretty straightforward what this one does. Now the last page is the settings page, and here is where you find your settings for the choke group inside the audio settings, which I find is a little bit weird, but you know, it's there. And then settings for MIDI. MV08 can receive MIDI clock from external devices, but it's not the only way of syncing stuff. No, it also has Ableton Link. So here is where you turn it on or off. Now the last menu here, called recordings, is actually where your internal recordings will end up. That's right, you can record stuff playing here internally, and you simply do that by and it will turn up in here. And in here you can preview your audio, and when you tap it you get options for deleting or exporting your stuff. I'm shifting this again. Come on, Jacob. There is one more control, and that's the volume knob right there. And yeah, it's the global volume. It's pretty straightforward. And so there you go. That's MV08 for you. Well, there you go. That's all you need to know about MV08. Thank you so much for watching. All comments and ratings are very much appreciated. What do I usually say? It's the first video I make after coming back from vacation, so I'm a bit off here. What do I say? As usual, oh, that's right. I've also got a Patreon page, a Patreon account. So if you want to support creativity and good content here on YouTube, if you want to keep seeing these types of tutorials and the videos I do, my type of content, if you really like it, why not sign up on Patreon? Now, if Patreon isn't your cup of tea, then I've also got a PayPal link, so you can do a one-off donation if you'd rather do that. Now, if you don't like Patreon or PayPal, then you can always share my videos, press the thumbs up if you think that the videos deserve it. Now, if you subscribe, don't forget to press in the little bell thing, because it's the only way of getting notified every time I upload a new video here on YouTube. As usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it.